It's such an honor and a blessing to be together. We know water is life. From the 9 months that we spend in the beautiful oceanic womb of the mother, to that which irrigates our farms and our fields, to that which quenches our thirst. Water is life. And yet, so tragically today, as we know and come together, water is becoming more and more a source of illness and death than a source of health and life. Around the world, so many of us work for peace. We live for peace, we make choices for peace, we commit to peace, and yet more people suffer and die every year across the world from lack of clean water than from all forms of violence combined. So we take religious violence, we take gender-based violence, we take drug-induced violence, we take all forms of violence, terrorism, war, and you add them together, and that number still pales in comparison to those who are suffering and dying due to lack of clean water. Now, the United Nations estimates that by 2040, the world is going to have only half the water that it needs. India is on track to be there by 2030. That's basically tomorrow. So as we think about, worry about, work for so many different aspects in our life, it's so critical to remember water. Those of you who are parents, who get up every day and you go to work to earn money to make sure that your children have a wonderful education, have wonderful opportunities. It's beautiful. That's what inspires parents to get up and go to work all over the world. And yet, if our children don't have access to water, to clean water, all of the education, all of the money, all of the opportunity is pointless and fruitless. And so we're giving a call for people to work at least 10, 15% of the time for water. Use the other 90, 85% of your time working for the money for your family, for the opportunity for your kids. But let's at least take that percentage. You know, traditionally in so many religious communities, there's that aspect of tithing, of giving some aspect, some percentage of what we earn back to the community. And these days, what's needed more than anything is for us to protect and preserve our water. So if we can take 10% of our time, 15% of our time, and actually work to keep our water clean, flowing, available. And that, by the way, spans the gamut, as we see in our work in India, ranging from clean energy. So not, for example, dragging water out of the riverbeds into tunnels to use it for electricity, but using solar electricity, using wind energy, using other forms of energy, of not cutting down trees, because the source of so many of our streams into the rivers are actually trees. There are some rivers that come that are glacial fed, but so many that are fed by the trees in the mountains. So as we cut down the trees in the name of development to put in factories, under the guise of bringing in development, we're actually depriving people of the one resource they do have, which is water. So to protect water, involves what we eat. It involves going vegetarian as much as we possibly can, because the amount of water that goes into the production of the meat industry is phenomenal. Time is really short, but just to give you one quick example, the amount of water that goes into the production of one meal of beef. So you sit down to hamburgers with your family. That amount of water that went into raising the cows, keeping the cows clean, giving them water to drink, growing the grain that's fed to the cows, then cleaning the cows after slaughter, separating out the different parts of the cow's body. The amount of water that goes into that production of one meal of hamburgers is the equivalent of the amount of water that you use in bathing for 6 months. So literally, you would have to not bathe for 6 months in order to offset the water that went into that one meal of hamburgers. Chicken is about a third, so you'd have to just not bathe for 2 months if you sat down to chicken. So what we eat, what we buy, what we wear, the fabric that our clothes are made of, the brand of shampoo we buy, all of that which we buy and use and wear is being produced somewhere. And the chemicals that are being used to produce it in the fields, or the waste that the factory is spewing into the land, into the soil, into the air, is all ending up in our groundwaters, and then in our rivers, and then in the water that we drink, or the water that's irrigating our fields, or the water we're bathing in. And so for me, what's so exciting about the work of water from a spiritual perspective is it enables every moment to be a spiritual practice. It enables every meal, every shopping trip to actually be something that is an exercise, an opportunity, an invitation to consciousness and to protection and preservation of water, an opportunity to choose for our sisters and brothers across the world. So I love this group, Stuart. I love what you do. I am so deeply honored to be with you today, and to, in closing, just share a very special minute of ritual, which is our water blessing ceremony. In our GlobalInterfaith WASH Alliance, water, sanitation and hygiene being the wash, we have this signature ceremony, and we offer sacred water onto a globe. And the reason for that, A, is a prayer that all of our sisters and brothers around the world have access to safe and sufficient water. It's that prayer. It's also a pledge that we together who are performing this, and I know you've all got cups of water, glasses of water to raise and to offer along with this, that we pledge to work for water, to choose for water, to eat, to shop, to dress, to live for water. But I also love the globe for another last aspect, which is water is that which unites us. And for those of us who do yoga, who practice yoga, who think about yoga, who love yoga, well, yoga means union. And water is really the substrate, the physical substrate of our inherent unity. Because water is, of course, what our own bodies are made of. We are water. Water is what we are sharing with the universe when we inhale and exhale along with the oxygen and carbon dioxide. When we speak, when we listen, water particles are kind of flying all over the place. We've learned this in COVID, which is why we mask up. Water is that runs beneath our land, beneath our feet, literally, into the rivers, into the oceans that connect us and unite us. So water is that physical substrate of union, of yoga. And so as we raise our cups, we'll offer together onto this globe the prayer that our sisters and brothers of every race, of every religion, of every color, every culture, every creed, will have access to safe and sufficient water. And we pledge in whatever way we are able, with our energy, our expertise, our experience, our time, our talent, our technology, that we will work for water, and that we will remember that inherent unity. And we offer it together with a beautiful prayer from our scriptures that says, Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya, sarve badrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhaved. And it means, may all beings, all living beings, be healthy and happy. May all beings be enlightened and reach their fullest and highest potential. And may no being suffer. And as we work and live for water, we do what we can to ensure that health, that happiness, that fullness of the lives of all of our sisters and brothers, of every species across the planet and across the universe. And thank you so much for this beautiful opportunity to share with you, to be with you. And thank you so much to Dolph for bringing in this beautiful presentation. I remember the first time I heard him speak on the coherence of water. It touched me so deeply inside because it reminds us how one we are with water, and how not just the volume, not just the cleanliness, but the actual molecular structure of the water we intake, how it impacts the very molecular structure of our own being. And how, as COVID has shown us, in order to be healthy, we must all be healthy. In order to be happy, we must all be happy. In order to be safe, we must all be safe. And this research shows us that in order to experience deep coherence, even our water, the molecules of our water, must be in coherence. So thank you to Stuart, to Didier, to all of the organizers, all of you, and to Dolph for your beautiful upcoming presentation.